Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another day, another week of World Team League WTL 2023 Winter Code S round number 8, day 1. And this is a very special day because we are live earlier than normal. Usually WTL, it's over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but this week, day 1 is far earlier than that, so we do not clash with ESL Masters Winter Finals on Sunday. The finals of ESL Masters will be taking place on Sunday. It's going to be featuring a lot of the players playing tonight, so we have rescheduled. We got the best of the best here, especially later on. We have On-Side Gaming versus Team Bastards. For now, we have Shopify versus the Platinum Heroes, and we kick things off with Lambo versus Firefly. Oh, let's go, Poppy. Let's go. Predictions, I imagine. Yep, there we go. They're currently open in the chat. Place your bets on how you think this series will go. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have for the Platinum Heroes, it is Firefly. And in the top right, we have a Shopify. We have Lambo. Oh boy, and this is going to be an interesting one. Again, we have seen players like Firefly overcome and surpass their opponents in the past here. Again, he is the darkest of horses. You can never count Firefly out. He's amazing. He's beautiful at what he does, and I'm excited for this. Obviously, on paper, Lambo is the favorite player, but that's everyone against Firefly. Like, so often he goes up against, a favorite opponent and brings them down to their knees anyway. He just has that X factor, that star factor, the fire factor, if you will. And yeah, Firefly, I'm really looking forward to see what he brings to the table here. He's always such a prepared player. And shout out to the sponsors once again for WTL. We have ByuN, we have Honkai Star, Tidal, and Autofool as well. Again, if you don't know what Honkai Star is, that's the anime girl that stepped on us in the intro. Yeah. Aye. Without our sponsors, of course, WTL would not be possible, would not be a thing, and we wouldn't be casting here. I mean, we'd still be casting. I'm sure we'd have another broadcast scheduled and lined up, but regardless, it's amazing to have WTL as a series, as a tournament. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's always a lot of good fun. And for now, we're getting into our openers. So far, everything's looking normal. Hatch Gas Pool out of Lambo. We have a Gate Cyber Expand out of Firefly as well. We Gate Expand Cybercore even. So, yeah, nothing too crazy between our players. Everything's looking as it should for now. We have our tech of choice, and it is going to be a Stargate. Now, even though, talking about Firefly a little bit here, he's typically a very prepared player. What I mean by that is he comes in with very unique and very specialized builds for his opponent. So far, everything's looking normal, but a Stargate opener doesn't have to be normal, especially leading into the mid-game. This could be Oracle into a third base into Glaive Adepts. This could be the new hero all-in that we've been seeing, where you go for a delayed Forge into Blink first, not Glaives, into something else entirely, or even something like a Dark Shrine opener. It feels like DTs have been a little bit more popular as of late. Over the past week or so, we've been seeing so many more Dark Shrine openers instead of your typical Blink, for example. So I'm curious what kind of follow-up we're going to be seeing here. For now, it is an Oracle, not a Void Ray. For that reason, it looks like Firefly is more concerned with dealing some economic damage across the map, a little bit less so when it comes to shutting down this Overlord and shutting down any kind of scatting information. So yeah, Firefly is going to be seeing to get some damage instead. Meanwhile, Lambo, he has had some time to prepare for this match as well. His ESL Masters run, I believe, has already concluded as of a couple of days ago, so he can now focus on other events like WTL. And I've been praising and talking a lot and hyping up even Firefly quite a lot here, but Lambo also another player that thrives in this kind of setting here, where you have days to prepare, you know who your opponent is, you know what map you're playing on, and you can come in so well set for this. We saw that earlier. We saw Lambo in a ZVP on Radisson Station last week, and it was amazing what he did, what he was able to try and accomplish there against MaxFax. But for now, the Oracle dives in, 2 workers go down, and takes quite a bit of hull damage, actually. Less than ideal here for Firefly. Sure, he keeps it alive, but that was still a lot of damage that was dealt. And now he has to pivot away, go back home. Back at home, there's that Twilight Council, and I don't see a Forge. I could be blind. It's true. It's true. Second Oracle comes in, doesn't quite find any damage here. Is maybe going to get one drone naughty up. Barely gets one worker, but once again takes a lot of hull damage before escaping. There isn't a Forge. This should be Glaives, or are we going to be seeing what here? Oh my God. we get a delayed forge, and we double down. That is double forge on the way here for Firefly. Very interesting. So it is not going to be Glaives. This is going to be Blink. This is reminding me a little bit of what Hero has been doing. Again, Hero, he has been mixing in quite a lot of aggressive builds recently in PvZ. We've been seeing him really embrace Glaive Adepts, but this is another variation where you go for a Twilight Council, you delay the rest of your tech here, but you still go for Blink. So very unique, especially going into 1-1. So a very gateway-heavy style coming out from Firefly, essentially spending a lot of resources here on his upgrades, less so taking up into a Robo, into Colossus production, for example. So yeah, we'll see how active he can be. We'll see what kind of timing he hits. I imagine this is going to be more of a 2-2 timing sort of setting here for Firefly, but we'll see. We'll see how this all lines up and how he hits. But now Stalkers are going to be threatening, pushing across the map. The Oracles have survived, thankfully, so they can support these Stalkers. They can help focus down whatever Lings they can and deny the ground. It's only going to be 4 Stalkers, and at the same time, a Ling counterattack does come across a probe and should be forcing a Warpin back at home. There we go. There's that Warpin. We're using the Pulsar Beam to kill the hatchery, actually. A bit of a bold move here. At the same time, back at home, the Lings, they are dealt with. The hatchery is going to be denied. I want to say that was a cancel. I hope that was a cancel. I think that was a kill. As Lambo is going to be forced to expand elsewhere instead, going to take the northern base. We have a massive gateway explosion. That's 6 gates on the way in addition to the 4 that we already had. So I think that's going to be, oh my god, 8 to almost even 10 gateways. Lings do get across the map though. They are going to try to apply some pressure here, but alas, they are being forced back. Lambo, he's double expanding again. His 4th base is so delayed. The double expand is upon us. Robo's on the way. I imagine that's only going to be for the War Prism. There it is, 2-2 in production. So I'm pretty sure this was designed to be a 2-2 timing from Firefly with a massive gateway army. We have that Robo on the way, but again, I'm pretty sure that's only going to be for a War Prism, less so for like Immortal production or Colossus instead. I think we just want to double down here on a mass gateway army. Meanwhile, Lambo, his crease rate is not looking too bad. His bases have been spotted. He has a massive Ling set up for a counter attack as well. That's a lot of Lings. Going to be threatening that natural and heading towards the 3rd base as well. But again, Lambo is focusing on a Ling Bane Roach Ravager composition. He's not going Ling Hydra, for example. We have a Banelin S as well, so he's not going just pure Roach Ravager. He invested in melee upgrades, so yeah, pretty robust army here in the mid game. Can deal with whatever Firefly can throw at him, as long as we get a good surround, a good engage, a good fight here for Lambo. There it is. There's that War Prism in production. Firefly is sending everything he can across the map. Oh boy. And so far, he's able to shave off a decent amount of Lings here. Roaches are coming in from behind. The Queens are pushing forward as well. 1 Queen does go down. Hatchery taking a lot of hits. The Lings are coming in for a surround. But we have the Oracles to support. They do activate their Pulsar Beams. We should be blinking backwards here behind the Lings. But where are the Zealots? We need some reinforcements in the Stalkers. They're being caught out. Half of them go down already, and this is disastrous for Firefly. These Stalkers had to build up over time, and too many of them are going down. Lambo, he collapses on this army before it can really get going. We do see Lambo losing all of his Lings, so he has to respect this army. He has to back off, but that was a big blow to Firefly. The anti-timing as well. That was before 2-2. 2-2 charge just finished. 2-2 is a couple of seconds away as well, and again, that was a lot of losses there for Firefly. He's going to keep this going. Looks like he will kill the hatchery though. Yeah, hatchery is going to go down. He has to get the hell out of here. At the same time, Zealot warping into the main base, but not too many Zealots. Yeah, only 4 Zealots are thrown in, and they are being zoned away by the Queens. Another Prism? No! Prism is going to go down. A big loss there for Firefly. Lambo, he's just securing himself, just shutting down whatever that Firefly has to throw at him. And yeah, like Firefly, it's just an uphill battle from this point. As Creep almost touching his fresh mining base here as he tries to take it forth. Pushing on the right-hand side, but we have Lings to surround Roaches as well, and we collapse on this army. Again, Firefly's composition is designed to snowball out of control, designed to again gain momentum over the course of this game, but that first fight went so poorly for him, and Lambo, upon shutting it down, he is in the driver's seat. He has so much freedom here in this game. Going to be forcing this all the way back home. There's a Zealot counterattack being set up, but we have plenty of Lings, and even Banelings getting ready in position. And alas, from here, we got some zealots in the main. I mean, okay, there's potential. There's potential here, especially if Lambo is caught out of position to deal some economic damage. But the main Roach army is what's terrifying, and the reality is that we have 3-3 on the way. This is true, but this gateway composition from Firefly is just being outscaled. It's run its course, and there is nothing else here. No Immortals, no Colossus or Disruptors. The Banelings, they rush into the mineral line. 16, 17 workers go down and counting. That's the entire mineral line falling, and now Lambo can force his way into that third base. The Stalkers, they're running out of room. They're running out of ground here. Forced further and further back behind the mineral line, and there is no escape. There is no escape for these Roaches and Ravagers. The Oracles are still alive from the early game. They're doing what they can. They're doing whatever DPS they can, but GG gets called, and Lambo will take game number 1. GG, well played. There was a lot of potential. There was a lot of potential in what Firefly was doing. Unfortunately, I do think that his first Stalker attack was premature. It was a bit premature. You know, we saw him move out before charge, before 2-2 kicked in. He got surrounded. He lost half of his Stalkers. At least not all of them, but half of his Stalkers went down in that first push. And with that, Lambo could sit back, could sit pretty, and could just cruise his way into that win on Solaris. But now it's going to be Firefly's map of choice, and you know, this is where we go for the what used to be the Team GP maneuver, now maybe the Firefly maneuver, where you maybe you take a loss here in game 1, but here in game 2 we come in even more prepared with our map of choice. It is, of course, loser's pick for our players, and I wonder where Firefly is going to take us. I wonder where he's going to thrive here. Do we go to Radisson Station? I don't feel like that's the kind of player that Firefly is. When I think of Firefly, he's a very timing-based player, very tempo-based. He's very in-your-face. I don't see him slowing the game down and getting into Sky Toss. Radisson Station has potential, but yeah, I like this pick a lot more here. We're going to Oceanborn. Let's go. Let us go. Oceanborn, of course, a map with notoriously exposed fourth bases where you can apply a lot of pressure and really gain momentum. And I'm sure Firefly is going to be at home here in Oceanborn. Not quite as at home as Silky. Silky, he's always playing under the sea. But Firefly, I'm sure he's coming in prepared, and we'll see how Lambo approaches this as well. Likewise, aggression I feel like is favored on Oceanborn, and Lambo himself is willing to be aggressive. In game number 1, he was more reactive. He was just absorbing all of these attacks and keeping up with the army. But everything can change here in game 2. Everything can change. So we'll see what kind of direction we do go in here. We'll see where we do head. As outside of this, our players just getting ready as well. Yo, shout out to the Clash chairs. I just realized that we have an old school Clash chair. The memories. It is nice to see to still have some representation from times gone by. And here we go. We're loading on in, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn. We have the Chinese Protoss player representing the Platinum Heroes, Firefly. And in the bottom right-hand corner, we have a Shopify. It is Lambo. Let us go. And yeah, from here, I'm curious what kind of direction Firefly is going to take us in. Typically, the reason why, again, I'm focusing on Firefly, typically the Zerg player is the reactive player here, depending on what the Protoss does whip out. And I expect that to be the same here. There is potential, obviously, for Lambo to cut workers and to be aggressive himself. I'll do my best to keep an eye on both of our players here. As the probe does rock up, forces the unnatural natural. Lambo very quick to expand and take that third base. More than happy to here on Oceanborn. And the probe is going to confirm that. So Firefly just getting a read on what exactly his opponent is up to. Just trying to keep up with him. Dipping into the main base, just making sure there's no earlier gases or earlier spawning pool. Being as annoying as possible. Forcing some inefficient mining here in the main as well. Again, just being a bit of a nuisance here to Lambo. Outside of that, we're getting into our own gate expand here. Nothing too crazy out of Firefly. No Nexus first, for example. No 2 gate openers. No proxy. No shenanigans. Oh, we're just easing ourselves into this. And again, Shopify, they've been looking so good, so powerful this season of WTL. They've been, yeah, really ramping it up compared to last season. Again, last season, Shopify, they did underperform and they didn't make it to the playoffs. But this season, they're looking a lot more secure. A lot of their players are a lot more in form as well. And yeah, another win here would be quite an advantage for them as well. Like, we're running out of weeks. It's hard to believe. I feel like the season just started, and we're already here in week 8. There's 11 in total, so we're almost done. We're almost at the end here of the round robin stage. The playoffs soon after, and I mean, I'm talking about like the end of the season, but we're almost at the end of the year. Oh my god, we're halfway through November, Papi. The year just started. Ay. Time flies when you're casting StarCraft every day. All the days, they just meld together. They meld together, Papi. Ay. It's been great. It's been a great year. And I'm sure it'll continue to be the case as well. As there we go, hatcheries are thrown down. Adept is going to be harassing here in between the bases, just trying to gain control here of the natural. Our tech of choice is going to be a Stargate opener out of Firefly, as to be expected here. Going for a Twilight Council opener can be very risky. We do have a second adept coming in. Do we commit to the shade? We do not, but we do head to the mineral line. We threaten some of those workers. The links come out just in time. We shave off some of them, but we don't get any economic damage, and that is what matters most. No economic damage is done. Oh my god, Adepts, they do once again shade into the main, though. They get 2 drones. I spoke too soon. They're going to get 3. Can we get 4? Oh, barely not. Link speed kicks in. 4. Jesus. 4 workers go down towards the end. 2 Adepts. You can see Lambo shaking his head a little bit as to what just happened. Not like this. But the supply block doesn't help either, actually. But there we go. We do have the hatchery at least finishing up. We do have additional overlords on the way. Lambo is getting across the map. He does get eyes on the third base. There's an Oracle in position, and Firefly, he's going to be able to hold on to his base here. Going to be able to maintain control of his third. Lambo, of course, just droning up, recouping his losses, and getting back into this. Losing 4 workers this early on, it's not ideal, especially considering we do have Oracles on the way. We're going up to triple Oracle here, not double. That is 1 more than last game for Firefly. Third base being taken, Adepts are being warped in, and what kind of direction do we go in from here? Should be a Twilight Council, but what comes alongside the Twilight Council? Oh, never mind. We have a Robo into a Forge instead, a much more tech-heavy composition. Okay. Oracles dip in, they get 1 worker kill. We have Adepts threatening the third base. Lings are, for the most part, able to keep up with the shades. We do commit. We're heading towards the natural. Forcing a lot of lost mine time. Trying to get on top of those workers, on top of those drones. They threaten the shade into the main, but alas, Lings are able to keep up. And these Adepts are going to be cleaned up here. They go toe-to-toe with the Queens, but they shouldn't quite get to the Oracles. They come in. They clean up the Queens. They go straight for the drones. The mineral line is going to go down. 4 workers, 5, 6. Oh my god. And the Oracles, they can get the hell out of there. Like, oh my god, we get even more. 8 workers. For Adepts, not too bad. Now we trigger a counterattack. The Oracles, they're racing back home. What do we have at home to defend? We have sentries, force fields, shield batteries still on the way. We can focus down some probes. Yeah, the shield battery's a little bit too late. 2 workers go down. Oh, this damage should not have happened. 3 probes and lost mining time as well. Yeah, that shield battery was just a little bit too late. This is, to be fair, this is something that Lambo needed. He needed to deal some counter damage here to keep himself in this game. Gets 3 of them. And the follow-up is interesting. If you remember, no Twilight Council. We went Forge Robo, so +1 in Immortal production. Gateway Explosions on the way. This is looking like an all-in. There is no charge, no blink, and we're not getting it anytime soon. We're building up the sentry count. It's going to be a Soul Train-esque all-in. Immortals and Sentries. Immortal Sentry and a bunch of vanilla gateway units are coming across the map. Firefly, I don't really think he intends to saturate too much longer. He is taking additional gases, which is interesting. I really don't think he wants to take a fourth, though. I feel like he wants to move out here with a mass gateway composition with Immortals and just send it across the map, hopefully catching Lambo off guard. Now, Lambo, he has taken a lot of economic damage, so right now he's hyper-fixated on redroning, resaturating. Lair is now done. Roach speed is on the way. We need Roaches now because, mate, Firefly, he's pushing. The Prism is on the way. Once it's done, we're going to be sending everything across the map. And I want to say we have 2 Immortals. I hope we have at least have 2. As Lings do check that third base, they do see the missing army. Well, they see the army is missing. There you go. We're pushing on to creep. Roach is still in production. No Ravagers are ready for this. Ravagers now being morphed in. Spore going to go down, buying a little bit of time. Ravagers are coming in from even behind. The force fields are looking pretty damn good. Ravagers do pile them down. But there may just be too much Protoss. Lambo, he took so much damage early on. He took so many economic losses as well. He was desperately trying to redrone. Now he's focusing on his army. Does he have enough? We can see the Firefly is gaining ground. We are missing a warp in. We have 1,000 minerals in the bank here. There it is. We have the warp in. Boys are being pulled. Oracles are still in the back line, and yeah, we can focus now on every single one of these Ravagers. The Oracles, they go ham on this army, and Lambo's in a lot of trouble. The base will fall. The Immortal under threat, taking a lot of hits. Up. Oh my god, but it's just too much. GG gets called, and Firefly catches Lambo exposed with his pants down. GG gets called. Firefly puts a point on the board. GG again. Lambo, unfortunately, he wasn't able to scout the main base. He wasn't able to get a read on what exactly Firefly was up to. A couple of mistakes early on as well. You can see Lambo shaking his head a little bit and smiling as well, recognizing that he made some mistakes. But again, shout out to Firefly. You know, this is what we're talking about. This is why we hype up Firefly, because, mate, doesn't matter who he's up against. He could be up against Serral, Maru. Mate, they're not safe. They're not safe from Firefly, from at least dropping a map. So Firefly does tie up 1-1. Again, there's a reason why we call him the ace player of the Platinum Heroes. You know, DNS maybe has something to say about that, but Firefly is damn good. And here we go. Now we're getting into our next matchup. Up next, we have ShaDoWn versus ByuN in a PvT. Here we go. As for now, it looks like, going to be a bit of a replay cast. Our players may not be available, and we're just diving on in the top right-hand corner of our Kione. We have the French Protoss player for the Platinum Heroes, ShaDoWn. And in the bottom left, we have his opponent for the Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. Here we go. Oh, ByuN! Papi! Gonna be going across the map with his SCV, mines out the mineral patches on the right-hand side, and he's going for a proxy Rax. Okay. I'm curious if we go crazy with this and we try to pick up and land in the main base, but this is most likely proxy Reaper. Gases are being taken back at home. And are we going to scout this location? Probe is going to be checking the natural base at least. We're going to be heading over towards the triangular third as well. Are we going to check the mineral patches? Are we not? No! He's up. He will see. No, he won't. He won't see the mineral patches. Not like this. He barely pulls back a little bit too soon. ShaDoWn does not see the proxy, does not come across it. And ByuN is going to go unscattered. Here we go. But now Cybercore is thrown down by ShaDoWn. I mean, again, standard opener, gate expand into the Cybercore. A bit of a greedier opener, a delayed Cybercore here from ShaDoWn. ByuN does see this ahead of time, and he's going to sneak past the mineral line, going to throw down a bunker as well. Oh, no. Not like this. It gets scouted. Okay, thankfully, ShaDoWn, he does see the bunker ahead of time. He's going to be able to add some DPS here to the SCV, as ByuN is going to barely avoid that. Gonna at least force the SV out. The bunker is still up, and we could resume building here. Here comes the Reaper. Probe is gonna fall immediately. The SV goes back to the bunker. Reaper gonna be threatening the main base. Workers are going down. Again, this Stalker is delayed because of the delayed Cybercore as well. And that's already 3 worker kills. Can we get a 4th? And even if we don't, the bunker is done, and we can dive into it. We can get into the mineral line. Bunker just now finishing. And we can deny so much mining here at the natural. Meanwhile, back at home, ByuN is transitioning. He's already working on that next step. Second Reaper comes in. Gonna be threatening that mineral line once again. Back at home, ByuN going into a 1-1-1. Oh my god. Okay, so a couple of things here. One, ByuN, his natural base it's late. It's a very delayed expansion here from ByuN. We don't quite see it, but on the minimap you can see that it is now on the way. ByuN, he went for a factory, then a starport before the CC, so a very delayed expansion, and he's gonna be hyper aggressive here. I'm curious, he's following it up with a mine drop. Ooh, SCV is gonna go down. We should be forcing a salvage on this, but we get another, oh my god, another 3 probes. What is that, 7 in total? 7 workers do go down. Ay, ay, ay. We get a salvage on the bunker. That is, oh, just barely not in time. That's a kill, not a salvage. Good pick off here from ShaDoWn. Something goes his way, but he lost 6 workers in the process. And we're not done. Remember, we threw down that factory and the starport ahead of time. Medevac's on the way. The Widow Mine drop is upon us. Now, it's going to be a very early Widow Mine drop, but not the most committed drop. What I mean by that is that there's no armory. There's no armory, so you do not need detection to deal with this, but this is still going to hit like a truck. This is still going to look to pull ShaDoWn apart. He barely has an army. He's only got a handful of Stalkers. Reapers are ideally going to be distracting the Stalkers as the mine drop comes in. As Medevac is on the way. Stalkers, they do zone that Reaper back. It's going to be 4 Widow Mines in total. And damage is going to be done. ShaDoWn behind this going straight for a 3rd base. I believe it was 2 gate into the... Yeah, sorry. 2 gate into 2 more at the natural into that 3rd base as well. Ay, ay, ay. The drop is barely not spotted. And we're going straight for the main. Here we go. We boost on in. Do we have a reaction? Hopefully we do. The mines. Okay, we do pull the boys. But there are 4 Widow Mines. And the mine shots, they do not go off. Trying to get as much value as we can out of them. Ooh, the sentry goes down. Mine drop into the natural as well. And ShaDoWn, he does react, but is it too late? No! Oh my god. 6 workers go down, plus a sentry. And 2 Widow Mines survive. They survive for now. We double back into the main base. ByuN being a little bit greedy, but he still has 1 mine that hasn't gone off. There we go. It is going to be Barden. No! No reaction! Ooh. Another 3 workers, 9 in total. The Reapers, they dive into the natural base, and ByuN is pulling ShaDoWn apart. Thankfully, the shield battery is keeping these probes alive. And ShaDoWn is going to clean this up. Oh, we come back in. No! Not like this! Oh! Widow Mine shot once again going off. Only 1 probe going down. That was ideal for ShaDoWn. There was a lot of potential for damage. That's 12 workers. That's 18 in total. And ByuN behind this, getting his natural up and running, getting his 3-1-1 set up as well. 3 Raxes, 1 factory, 1 starport. Stim is on the way. He's building up towards his next push. Now, what is terrifying here is that ShaDoWn doesn't have a Twilight Council. It was a Robo Opener. It was a Robo Opener instead. So we do get fast Colossus, but we have no presence on the map. What I mean by that, there's no Phoenixes, there's no Blink Stalkers, there's no way to, 1, securely shut down these drops, or even push across the map. He's stuck at home. He's stuck at home, and he is building up a death ball of an army. He's building up Colossus, which is terrifying, don't get me wrong, as another mine shot's going to be going off. But it means that ByuN is safe. ByuN is safe to do whatever he wants. There's no threat of a counterattack. As another probe goes down, a lot of lost mining time here at the natural base. ShaDoWn, he finally secures himself, and as he's getting up on a 3-base economy, ByuN is getting his own 3rd on location, and he's pushing out. Now, there is 1 Colossus. There is 1 Colossus at the 3rd base. I believe Extenthomal Lance is finishing up. The Raven comes in for someone. Ah! ShaDoWn, he just wants to mine, Poppy. He just wants an economy. Leave him alone. The armies are going to be clashing. ShaDoWn moves out. Oh my god. Ooh, takes some tank volleys to the face though. A lot of hits on the Colossus. Auto Tartaracid continues. Coming back into the main. Getting another couple of probes. But again, I believe now we have 2 Colossus Extended Milan still in production here for ShaDoWn. Still on the way. Twilight Council just now starting. Forge as well. Yo, can we go for the Bay? No shot. No! Colossus range, the overcharge barely keeping it alive, and it's too much. It's too much DPS, and the tech goes down. We will not get Extended Milans. We will not get Colossus range. Not here, not now. Not anytime soon. That's 13 more probes falling. The drop play here of ByuN getting out of control. He takes an economic lead, and the entire opener, the entire purpose of this build was to get these Colossus up and running as quickly as possible, to get them fully operational, and alas, we haven't done so yet. There are 3 Colossus, but they don't have range, which means they're more vulnerable to these tanks. They're more vulnerable in general. ByuN takes down 14 workers, and now he's getting ready for his push, for his assault at the 3rd. And we'll see if ShaDoWn can survive that. With Overcharge, maybe we can. With 3 Colossus as well, there's still potential for damage. And ByuN is not pulling the trigger. He's respecting the Colossus. Looks like we have a bit of a drop into that natural base as well. The minimap is flashing. Don't know what's happening. Okay, there we go. Just some auto Tartaras. We have an armory on the way for 2-2. We have a Ghost Academy on the way as well for Ghost, of course. ByuN, he's just taking up, working on that next step, and he doesn't have to force the issue. He can just chill, wait for his opponent to come to him. And ShaDoWn, he can't move out. There's no blink. He's now working on disruptors. He's contained to his 3 bases. Has no map control. It means that ByuN, he doesn't have to worry about counterattacks, zealot run-bys, warp prisms. That's our 4th Colossus in production, by the way. The auto Tartaras. It doesn't stop. Another 2 workers going down. Now, ShaDoWn, he's secure on his 3 bases. He's now taking a 4th. But the downside is what we just mentioned, is that he's just giving ByuN so much freedom to do whatever he wants. ByuN is up to 73 workers. He's working on a 4th base. He's teching. He's getting his 4th on location as well. Because ShaDoWn is stuck at home, ByuN is just taking full advantage of him. And soon, ByuN is going to max out. As he dives onto the Nexus, it's going to be a cancel, thankfully, on that base. Is forced to cancel. We do have 4 Colossus. I saw a Disruptor earlier, but I guess we canceled the Disruptor. I don't think it died. But really interesting that we decided to go up to 4 Colossus first before starting Disruptor production. I do think that Disruptors and Purification Novas are the way for ShaDoWn to come back in this game. Outside of that, in a head, we're getting up to 5 Colossus. Oh my god! We're looking at the units tab at the moment, and yeah, we've gone up. Are we going up to 6? Crazy. And we're pointing out the amount of Marauders, of course, that we have, and I mean, ByuN has a terrifying army. He is about to max out. Big anti-armor missile as well. ByuN, he's pushing. Now is the time. So essentially, ideally here with a Proto Space composition, you want only around 3 or so Colossus is a sweet spot, just because of how much overkill or over damage you do. And here we go, we're diving in. The Marauders are having a hard time closing distance. Tanks dishing in quite a lot of damage here in the backline. The mine shots, they go off. They go off on those cells. The Colossus, though, they reign supreme. They force back the army. Plus, putting in a lot of work. And hey, all 5 of them survive. I can't say the same for the ground army, but the Colossus do stand strong. We have a 6th. That's a 6th Colossus on the way. Oh my god. All right, let's go. making 4 Vikings at a time, and that's what's terrifying about this. Make a handful of Vikings, and you can shut down these Colossi one after the other. This is why you want to diversify your splash damage. You get up to 3 Colossus, then Disruptor production. It isn't just that, of course, the swipes, they do a little bit of over damage, and you get some wasted DPS there, but also, once your opponent gets into Vikings, you want to have some other forms of splash damage to deal with that ground army, whether it's Storm, whether it's Disruptors, more Archons. Here we go, we're pushing in. Vikings going to be going ham as well. Good kiting from ByuN. And you can see ShaDoWn just having a really awkward time engaging. There we go. The first and second Colossus goes down. We're down to 3. We're down to... And soon we're going to be down to none here as we just dive on top of the army. Get on top of the Colossus as well. They cannot protect themselves. They're so fragile. GG gets called and ByuN will take game number 1. Ooh, GG. And that was a game. That was a game and a half. That was crazy. Hyper aggression out of ByuN, going for a proxy Rax into a 1-1-1 mind drop for a delayed expansion. Just constantly in the face of ShaDoWn and never letting him breathe. ShaDoWn, thinking back on it, I don't think he ever pushed out. I don't think he ever was able to be aggressive on that map. But here we go. We're getting into game 2. Our map of choice, Radisson Station. In the bottom left, ShaDoWn for the Platinum Heroes. And in the top right, we have a Shopify Rebellion, ByuN. Again, this makes plenty of sense as a map pick here for ShaDoWn. He's going to be a lot more secure. On Radisson Station, we'll be getting up to 3-4 bases, a little bit easier without as much problems or as much damage being sustained. So a solid map pick here from ShaDoWn, especially considering his playstyle. If he was a more active and aggressive player, if you remember in the previous game, in the previous series with Firefly versus Lambo, I was talking about how I didn't really feel like Radisson Station melds too well with Firefly's playstyle. Firefly, he thrives in chaos and aggression and timing attacks. ShaDoWn a little bit less so. ShaDoWn, he likes to sit back, macro, get a secure economy, and get into the mid game, get into the late game even as well. So that's what ShaDoWn's going to be looking for. Meanwhile, ByuN, his playstyle is the opposite. He wants to be in the face of his opponents, and Radisson Station works against ByuN. So we'll see if he can pull it off. As we get a lovely rally there. Oh, it's beautiful. ShaDoWn going to be going for a gate expand. Once again. Gate expand into that Cybercore. And across the map, ByuN going for his own Rax expand as well. Single gas opener here out of ByuN. Much more economic this time. And again, it makes sense. Considering the map, it's that much more difficult to be aggressive early on, so no need to go into a double gas opener as, ShaDoWn is going to be going for a proxy pylon. This is a prime location for a proxy Stargate. Again, it is not all in by any means, it's just a way to get ahead economically to deal some damage. Probe is going to be leaving though, so we'll see if we commit as, the probe just goes down to the Zonaga. Get some additional scouting information as we do go back up towards that pylon. And it looks like we should soon be throwing down our tech. There it is. There is... Oh. There it is. There is the Stargate. Sorry, I saw there was a little bit of latency, but well, I know. It's all good. So that Stargate is on the way. This should be for Proxy Oracle, just to get economic damage done. Again, this isn't for like Proxy Tempest or Void Rays or anything crazy like that. Just should be a couple of Oracles, pick up some SCVs and get some scouting information. As we do get back into that scouting. Probe dips in. Gets eyes on the CC timing, goes up the ramp, sees the 1-1-1 as well. A pretty important scout. He confirms that it's not going to be a 2-1-1 variation or a 3-rack. So really crucial scouting information there from ShaDoWn, recognizing that he's up against a pretty standard opener overall. And the Oracle is on the way. And ByuN has no idea. ByuN is in the dark as to what's going on. He has a decent amount of Marines. He has a safety Cyclone coming out again. The new Cyclone has its place in early game TVP. You do want to build up that Cyclone, or just get a couple of Cyclones just to be secure here against the Oracles or any kind of aggression from your opponent. Phoenixes. Early Adepts. And behind this, we're going straight for a medevac, going for some drop play. Okay, ByuN looking to be aggressive across the map. Meanwhile, the Oracle does dive into the main and is going to get a couple of SCVs. Is going to force a lot of lost mine time. We are out of position. Cyclone comes back in. Again, the Marines are not at home. They're going across the map. They're in the medevac. Cyclone at least is able to fend off that Oracle. Only one SCV goes down, and here comes that drop. And what does ShaDoWn have? He should have noticed that the Marines were missing. Depth's a bit out of position. One probe goes down. But we should be able to maintain our economy as up. Another probe falls. Again, good target firing here out of ByuN. As the drop play continues, looking for another worker, but is going to be zoned back. Oh my god, as ByuN is doubling down here. Okay, so he went into his 1-1-1 opener. He went into this Marine drop initially. Behind this, we have an add-on swap. We have a tech lab on that starport. We're going for Cloak. We're going for Banshees. Crazy. Insane. We have seen a lot of Banshee play out of ByuN in this matchup, but typically he only makes like one Banshee to harass. But here he's doubling down, getting into Cloak. Meanwhile, we have a Void Ray in production? Question mark? Oracle comes back in, gets 2 more SCVs. Gets a couple more workers here as Cloak is finishing. I believe we did manage to scout, but it may have looked like something like a Raven instead. Banshee arrives, gets a couple of probe kills. Cloak is revealed, and do we have detection? The Oracle is racing back home. We need more time. The Oracle is on its way. 6-7 workers go down, and this is getting out of control. This is becoming too much. At the same time, a drop into the main. The Marine drop still wreaking havoc. 11 workers go down, and the Banshee lives. No shot. The Banshee survives. I spoke too soon. The flanking Void Ray, it was worth it. Clearly planned. Completely planned here as the Void Ray shuts down the Banshee. Drop coming back into the main. And here comes the push. And he's been taking too much damage. He's just having a hard time keeping up with the harassment force here of ByuN. And he's becoming frazzled. By the time he deals with this drop, he's going to have an army knocking down his front door. ByuN just all over him here. Banshee coming in. The army of ByuN actually pulls back. He doesn't commit. Going to be respecting the position of ShaDoWn. And we go for the pocket base. Getting even more worker kills. The Oracle has to turn back around for the revelation. Not like this. It's going to be 4 worker kills. Revelation is thrown down. And the Banshee will escape. Aye. So, once again, just because of the builds here, just because of the Stargate opener, the Twilight Council was delayed, which means delayed blink. It means that ShaDoWn's just having a really hard time keeping up with the drop play, with the harassment here of ByuN. Instead, he's prioritizing Colossus. We have a Bay on the way to get into Colossus production. Very similar to the last game overall. Very similar outlook and overall game plan here for the Protoss. ShaDoWn is going to try to keep up with the army movements. ByuN working on his third. The Banshee coming back in. The harassment just never ends. Oh my god. Getting another 2 workers. Void Rays on the way. First Colossus is in production. And Revelation should shut down this Banshee eventually. But again, there's no blink, so we're having a hard time keeping up. The main army going to be pushing forward once again. As the Banshee finally goes down. 7 more worker kills. Aye. There's wondering, again, ByuN is actually quite far ahead here in the economy. Ideally, the Protoss wants to be up a base and up in workers, and that is just not the case. Not here. not in game 1 or in game 2. Now we will have one Colossus. I believe that's a second Colossus in production, which will help. Observer does spot the army. Spotted, oh! Spotted the army, but the Oracle goes down as well. Gets a revelation, but here we go. ByuN now getting within range of the wall. It's going to be laying siege upon that gateway. Shield battery overcharges pop. The Colossus will hold on. But ByuN is getting within range of that shield battery. Reinforcements are on the way. Second Colossus is about to pop out. It is on the way here for ShaDoWn. And in the midst of this attack, we just go for a double jump into the main. ShaDoWn, he doesn't have the supply here to split between his bases. He cannot defend both locations at once. Void Ray is under threat. The Colossus is being pulled back, and ByuN, he's pushing on into the natural base. The drop is saved. We get behind the mineral line. The Void Ray. No shield battery. The overcharge is already spent as well. We're going to drop into the pocket base, drop into the natural. And we're pulling ShaDoWn apart as we have a drop in every single mining base here of the Protoss. And even if ShaDoWn deals with the army, the economy is non-existent. Barely any mining. We sniped the Twilight Council. Marines, they waddle in. More probes going down. And those mines are going to reset. We snipe the Cyber Core. We can only warp in Zealots. Colossus goes down. GG gets called. It's just too much. Well played as well. And ByuN will take the series 2-0. GG, the ace player of Shopify, really showing off why he is the ace player as well. Just all over ShaDoWn the entire series. Both game 1 and game 2, just constant drop harass, mine drops, Banshee play, Reapers just constantly in the face of the Protoss. And ShaDoWn wasn't even being active on the map. He was going for a tech-heavy style. He was staying back at home. He still couldn't keep up. GG, well played to ByuN, well played to Shopify as they take a lead in this series. We're going to be going on a short break. When we return, we'll have our final, or our next best of 2, final best of 2. We could go all the way to the ace match. The pressure is on the Platinum Heroes. The pressure is on Goblin to 2-0. Up next, Goblin versus Scarlett. See you soon. Oh, we're coming back.
Nice.
I didn't even know. Did we go on break? Did we switch scenes?
I could not switch the scene.
Okay.
Also, predictions are late. Panic.
Predictions are late. We have our players. We do not have a replay cast. Let's go, Bobby. Let's go. As game 1 is on Radisson Station. Oh boy. Interesting. This is going to be a spicy one here. Goblin, of course, is a powerful player in his own right. Scarlett has a lot of star power, don't get me wrong. She's amazing at what she does, but she's been very vocal about ZVP, very vocal about this matchup. We have seen Scarlett fall in the past to some quote-unquote lesser Protoss players. Goblin has a good chance here at fighting back for his team, fighting back for the Platinum Heroes. Predictions are going to be opening up. They're on the way. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Radisson Station, we have for the Platinum Heroes, Goblin. And spawning in the top right, we have a Shopify Rebellion, Scarlett. Predictions are open in the chat. Place your bets. Best of luck with those predictions, as yeah, it's gonna be difficult to call here. So the way this works, Shopify, they need one win in this best of 2. Scarlett needs 1, and then Shopify will win it. They will be the champions here in this Team League match. Goblin needs a 2-0. He needs a 2-0 to force the ace match, to force the best of 1. I'm hooked on your casting. Your ability to see builds brewing is amazing. Oh, thank you, Papi. Thank you. Follow that. I'm catching. I haven't been able to catch up in the chat. I've just been enthralled by the series. Welcome. Senor Aistan, Sad Sack as well. Bienvenidos. We're back on Razor Station. Now, I feel like I've been a little bit spoiled. I've been a little bit spoiled by this map. The last time we spawned in here last week was Lambo versus Max Packs, where Lambo went for Nidus Swarm Host, which was wild. Nidus Swarm Host just constantly in the face of his opponents of Max Packs. Didn't quite work out in the end, but I mean, it looked amazing. Like, it looked so unique, and I wonder if maybe Lambo has been speaking to Scarlett and they've been coming up with a strategy for this map. The reason why I bring up Nidus Swarm Host and aggression in general. So this map specifically, it is very easy for the Protoss player to get up to 3 bases, to get up to 4 bases, and to get into Sky Toss. And I'm pretty sure Goblin is one to embrace Sky Toss. Unlike Firefly, Goblin, he likes the map. He likes the Sky Toss. And it's really the onus is on the Zerg player here to be hyper aggressive, whether it's a Nidus play, Dropper Lords, maybe some fast tech instead, some way to slow down the Protoss. The flip side would be to embrace the late game and be greedy yourself, but not too sure if that's something that Scarlett is quite fond of and willing to do against Goblin. So we'll see where kind of our builds take us. For now, Stargate opener out of Goblin, as to be expected, a standard opener here from our Protoss player. This should be leading into an Oracle into a 3rd base. Meanwhile, likewise, Scarlett has been droning on 2 bases as well. Nothing too out of the norm yet. When you're watching the phone in your bed and it falls out of your hand and onto your face. Not like this. That sounds painful. Phones now, they're heavy, papi. They're heavy. Be careful. Be careful. Not like this. But for now, Goblin is going to be mining out those mineral patches, working towards that pocket 3rd base. Oracle is in production. Scarlett hasn't seen the tech yet, but I'm sure is going to be anticipating and ready for an Oracle opener, just because of how commonplace they are in this matchup. As we have pulled out of gas, and we are just saturating our bases. Really, I'm curious about the follow-up. For Goblin, I'm curious. We have seen a lot of double Stargate, and we rush into a fleet peeking. We've seen a lot of fleet peeking play here on Razor Station. A lot of Sky Toss. Do we rush into it? Do we slowly go into it instead with a robo-based composition with Colossus, Immortals, with a ground army? My eyes are on a Goblin. For now, the Oracle dives into the main. Queens are in position. They zone back the Oracle. Scarlett not taking any damage so far. The Oracle gets eyes on the 3rd base at least. Does confirm that Scarlett didn't take the pocket. Not yet. We're saving it for a 4th or even a 5th base. And this is interesting. Okay, so a couple of things are going on. One, we delayed the 2nd Oracle. We delayed the Oracle in favor of a Twilight Council. Okay, there we go. Forge is on the way not too soon, not too shortly after. I thought that maybe we would go for something like Glaive Adepts to try to catch Scarlett off guard. But no, that's a Forge. So this should be for +1 Blink Stalkers or +1 Charge Lots. I'm imagining Blink, but we'll see. So Goblin isn't being hyper greedy. He isn't skipping tech. He isn't rushing into Colossus or rushing into Sky Toss. Just a ground-based army. There it is. A Blink is on the way, and +1 soon thereafter. So pretty standard play. He's not cutting too many corners, or any corners really. Very safe, very secure. Respecting his opponent quite a lot. Likewise, Scarlett is droning, taking up. We have the Lair on the way. Roach Warren as well. We're just droning. And yeah, so far, beat for beat, we are keeping up with each other. I mean, I say that, I would actually give Scarlett the edge at the moment because these Oracles haven't done any damage. Time and time again, Scarlett, her queen movement, is able to keep up. Oh, there we go. Remember how I was like, yo, papi, we're going for +1 and Blink? We're not rushing Sky Toss? My mistake. Wait, I was giving Goblin too much credit. I was like, yo, is he going to play like normal and straight up on Razor Station? Are we not rushing Sky? There's the 2nd Stargate. There's the fleet beacon there. Which, again, makes plenty of sense. Like, if you're going to be doing this on any map, it makes sense to do it on Razor Station. Now, what's interesting about this build here from Goblin is that this is later than normal. Goblin, there was nothing stopping him from rushing into a Fleet Beacon and a second Stargate sooner. Like, sure, we have Blink and +1, but we're not doing anything with it. This does feel like Goblin did slow himself down just because he was maybe a little bit afraid of, like, earlier aggression from Scarlett, so he wanted to be a little bit safer, more secure, which means his tech is delayed. I mean, I say delayed. It isn't as far as, it isn't as fast as we otherwise have seen from other Protoss players, just because you can cut corners. And there it is. We have +1 air attack on the way. Carriers in production as well. We have a gateway explosion, so we may have some carriers, but Goblin is going to have a ground army to support as well. As we're secure on 3 bases, we should be working towards a 4th base as well. Meanwhile, Scarlett already has that Spire in production, if I'm not mistaken, and yeah, we'll see. As there we go. With that Spire, we're going into initial Mutalisks. 6 mutas are on the way, so 6 mutas, that is enough to one-shot workers. That is enough for it to have a marauding force or harassing force. It's only 6 mutas behind this. We're going into a roach-based composition, and Goblin, he's pulling a Skillis. Let's go. I've only ever seen Skillis do this, but Goblin, he's mined through the middle patches on the right-hand side, and he's taking the gold base as his 4th. A very bold move, a very aggressive maneuver here from Goblin. We'll see if he can get away with it. Scarlett is pushing out. Scarlett is moving out with a massive Ling Roach army. That's 17 Roaches. A lot of Lings as well. Actually, she's droning. Never mind. She's droning. She's saturating her 4th, taking a 5th, and taking the gold base as well. Meanwhile, the Lings will spot the gold. Scarlett sees, and Scarlett has to do something about it. Cannot let this get up and running. Stalkers are revealed, and the carriers are about to reveal themselves as well. Mutas, go straight for the natural. They dive into the natural base. Probes are going down at the same time. Oracles are doing what they can. But there's not much to kill at the pocket base of Scarlett. Goblin losing 8 workers. Scarlett losing 6. At least the Oracles get some damage done. And Scarlett is just going to be rotating around, focusing everything on this gold base. Shield batteries are finished. The carriers are late to respond. Their overcharges pop, but we're focusing on the shield battery. Shield battery is going to be going down. The Archon gets surrounded as well, and the Roaches are pushing through. But with the power of the carriers, there just isn't enough anti-air. And Goblin holds. Goblin holds. He gets away with the gold base. We have Corruptors in production. More mutas are on the way. I love that we're focusing and prioritizing Archons here to help support. And what's interesting is that we do have +1 air attack, but we only have 4 carriers. What I mean by that is Goblin isn't actually making anything else. He isn't making additional Void Rays or carriers. He's focusing on a ground army to support his Sky Toss. And the Roaches, they bust in. They bust into that natural base. The wall has been broken, and we have to react. We have to pull back. And the Cybercore taking a lot of hits. We have to go for Zealots instead. At the same time, mutas, they hit the gold base, and Goblin's being pulled apart. He had an army in position, but slightly misplaced, losing 7 workers. Scarlett is maxed out, and she needs to do more damage. She has almost broken Goblin. The sack defense is late. Oh, it is quite delayed here. The mutas, they dive on in. Stalker's taking a lot of hits. Here come the Corruptors. They dive on the carrier. 1 carrier goes down. We're going to get a second as well. Have we overcommitted, though? The Archons are going hand. The mutas go down. Oh my god, that's a lot of dead Corruptors. Those Archons were putting in so much work on that army. But again, this is something that Hero and Classic have been playing around with a lot. I glossed over it, but Goblin, he threw down a lot of gateways, and he's only making enough carriers to support his army. The Sky Toss is more of a supportive unit, and really he's focusing on a ground-based army instead. He just lost 2 carriers, that's why he's making 2 more, but he's still focusing on Charged Archon, and he's hoping that Scarlett overreacts and overextends, I say overreacts, overmakes Corruptors. And so far it's worked. So far a lot of Corruptors went down. But here we go, Scarlett now refocusing here on Roach production. Roaches and Lings. And what's scary is, again, we don't have Lurkers, we don't have Broodlords. The Archon Stalker count is getting higher and higher. The Corruptors are ignoring the army. Oh, we're pushing. As Goblin is not turning back around, the carriers are a little bit exposed. One Oracle falls. The Corruptors, they catch a couple of reinforcing carriers. They get one, and they do not get the second. A lot of Corruptors fall. Oof. That was an expensive die for Scarlett. She's coming back around once again, coming across those carries. The move command! No! The move command through the army, and almost every single Corruptor goes down. A big blow here to Scarlett. We still needed some anti-air. We have Zealots on the right-hand side. We're pushing through the center. And again, with only Roach Ravager, Scarlett, she doesn't have the best army for this. Doesn't have the best army. Zealots are wreaking havoc. 18 drones are going down, and Goblin is snowballing out of control. God, there's just so much blue on the screen. So many Archons. We're pushing through all of the Roaches and the Ravagers as well. The carriers are still alive. Corruptors are coming from behind. And even if we deal with all these carriers, even if we clean them all up, it doesn't matter. It's not enough. 2 carriers still survive. But it's all about the ground army. As the Archons are going ham, GG gets called. Goblin snowballs out of control and takes game number 1. GG. No reaction. Goblin's like, that's PVZ, Poppy. Rad station. Aye. But jokes aside, that was really well done. Really well done out of Goblin. To wind it back a little bit here, I do love how it all came together. It's something that we have seen from a lot of the Korean Protosses. I haven't seen too many Europeans embrace it, but the idea of going for Skytoss, yes, but not really hyper-focusing on it. If you remember, Goblin, he never had more than 4 carriers. Never more than 4. He only had them to just be a bit of a backbone to his army, maybe a bit of a magnet for those Corruptors, forcing a reaction, but hyper-fixated on his ground army instead, on his Stalkers, Zealots, Archons as well, hoping that, again, we would see maybe too much of a commitment into Corruptors and not enough onto a ground army. And again, against what Goblin had, without either Broodlords or Lurkers or Vipers, higher tech units, Roach Ravager doesn't cut it. It doesn't cut it there, not in that situation. Not unless you're able to cripple the economy and you know, have a bit of a different lead up to that stage of the game. But alas, Goblin, he was able to secure himself, able to get away with his gold. Remember, the gold base was taken pretty early on, and Scarlett couldn't punish it. Got a couple of worker kills here and there, but could not really punish and cripple that gold. Goblin got so much done there, and with that, he takes game 1. And with that, Goblin needs one more to really close this out, to force the ace match. Scarlett's map of choice, Equilibrium. Makes plenty of sense. This is the Zerg map here in ZVP, the polar opposite to Radisson Station, where you have plenty of bases. You have a fast goal base that you can take as a 3rd or even a 4th as well to have a boosted economy, and Zerg players can snowball out of control on this map. It's going to be that much more difficult here for Goblin to keep up. This is the power of WTL. Losers pick. Loser picks whatever map they want. No vetoes. No vetoes are available. And we'll see what Scarlett can get done here on Equilibrium. Again, there's a lot of potential. I'm really curious when she takes the gold. That's the big tell. Does she take the gold as a natural, as a 3rd, or as a 4th? Depending on when the gold is taken, that will give us a bit of insight on how aggressive she plans on being. Likewise, doesn't have to be aggressive. Again, plenty of bases to take. We can go into a bit of a longer game, a more macro-oriented game. It is all available. I really like this ground army with carrier support idea. Yeah. Again, I highly recommend. I think it was in KSL maybe 3 weeks ago, almost a month ago. Classic is all about this. Hero was doing this a lot against Dark. So Hero plays against Dark all the time, but Hero was doing this against Dark as well. It is really cool to see. It is really cool to see. As a result, because of its rise in popularity, a lot of the Korean Zerg players have caught on, and they've been keeping their eye on what kind of like composition the Protoss is going for. But it can really catch you off guard. Definitely can. But for now, looks like we are just getting that lobby ready getting set up for game 2. The pressure is on. Again, Scarlett does have a little bit of breathing room here. You know, the ace match isn't the worst thing in the world. It won't be a loss for the team. But she can avoid that, right? If she gets a win here and now, there won't be an ace match. It'll all end here in game number 6. And in the top right-hand corner of Equilibrium, we have Goblin for the Platinum Heroes. And top left, we have a Shopify Rebellion, Scarlett. Here we go. Oh boy. And already, where is that drone going? I'm looking at the minimap. Already, I was talking about it. I was like, the question becomes, when does Scarlett take the gold? Natural, third, or fourth? We have our answer. It's going to be the natural. So a very, very wild and aggressive opener here from Scarlett, rushing into that gold as quickly as possible. And the pressure is now going to be on Goblin to stop this. Or first to scout it, then to try and stop it. So a very bold move here from Scarlett, going straight for the gold. You could argue that it's a little bit exposed. It is. It's quite out there in the open. What is scary is that it is difficult to actually defend, especially if your opponent goes for Adept harass. Adepts plus Oracles. You're able to split up your opponent, pick and choose, harass the main base, harass the goal base, and it's difficult for the queens to really keep up. It's going to be on Scarlett to spread creep as quickly as she can, connecting the bases to actually protect the gold. To protect said goal base. And here we go. Probe is going to be scouting. Does come across it. Does confirm. Now, we'll see how Goblin decides to punish this. If he goes for initial Adept Oracle harass, if he goes for a Twilight Council opener instead and goes Glaive Adepts, that's also possible. We have options here for Goblin, but the onus is on him. The pressure is on him. He cannot allow this goal base to go uncontested. If he does, then Scarlett will have a massive power spike a lot earlier in the mid game and snowball out of control. Talking with Roaches, with Lings, with Banelings, her economy is just going to go crazy because it isn't just gold mineral patches. For those who don't know, this gold base has gold mineral patches and it also has a rich Vespene gas geyser as well. It's got everything. It has everything you'd ever want, ever need, and we have our tech of choice, Stargate. So a very mature decision here from Goblin. He isn't, you know, panicking and throwing down a Twilight Council and going to Glaives, and he doesn't feel entirely pressured to go all in or anything. He's just going for a Stargate for now. Is moving out with his Adepts. Is going to be harassing with Oracles and Vanilla Adepts. Not Glaives. Now, this can always lead into Glaive Adepts afterwards. This can always lead into, you know, Oracle, into Twilight Council, into Glaives. So bear that in mind. Adept rocks up, but we are in position. Adept is going to be zoned away. Scarlett taking her third base behind this. Again, going to be connecting all that creep, connecting the bases. Adept tries to come in from a different angle, doesn't quite find too much damage, gets one Ling. Not much else. Here we go. As there it is. Early Roach Warren. That is a 3-minute 30 Roach Warren. Scarlett is going for a Roach Rush. And she can afford to do this that much more quickly and that much more potently because of the gold base. The gold just gives such a boost. It requires less workers, of course, to have like such an insane economy. So you can get into those roaches that much faster. Goblin needs to get a read on what's going on. He needs to figure it out. This isn't just going to be roaches. I'm pretty sure we're going to be walking queens as well. The Oracle is zoned away. We do not scout the tech. We don't see the Roach Warren. Goblin is in the dark. Rich Vespene gas geyser is being taken. Creep is spreading across the map. What's really interesting is that Scarlett, instead of spreading creep backwards to connect the bases, she's spreading it forward again to get that creep highway going. There it is. The roaches are in production. We're cutting workers here at 38. Ooh, drones are going down. A lot of exposed workers here at the third. That's a pretty big deal. 4 workers do fall, but Scarlett, she doesn't care. She's all in. Queens are waddling across the map. Roaches and Lings are coming out as well, and Goblin still hasn't quite seen this. I think he spots the roaches. Yeah, 3 shield batteries on the way. He knows. He's aware that Scarlett is going all in, but knowing is half the battle. even though he knows, can he stop it? Scarlett is rushing everything across the map. Oh my god, more shield batteries here on the way. Can we pull off the defense? Sentries for force fields, gateways are finishing up. This third base is completely forfeit. And Scarlett, yeah, she walks back with the queens. They don't have, she's droning. Scarlett, she knocks down the third base and is droning behind this, looking to just take a lead and get ahead. Goblin just could not do anything about that. He's trying to hold on to his natural. The Oracles, they get across time. They're getting a couple of worker kills. Not too bad. Oh! Oh my god. As the force field is thrown down, the Cybercore is exposed. No! Cybercore is going to go down. But these Oracles are going ham. Oh my god, they find a mineral line. No Spore, no Queens. Once again at 10, 11. 12 workers, 13. Oh my god, they just don't stop. 15 workers go down. Suddenly, Scarlett's in a really rough place. That is a massive blow to her economy. That's insane. And now Goblin finds himself with a worker lead. He's still contained to 2 bases, don't get me wrong. He still would love to expand, and he still can't. Oh god, we're in for a long one. That's a fleet beacon. That's a fleet beacon on the way. Second Stargate. It's going to be Skytoss. Now, because we have +1 and Blink on the way, just like the last game, I feel like we're going for a similar outlook. This is going to be Ground Toss with Skytoss to support, as opposed to the opposite, which is usually the case, with like mass Skytoss with like Storm and Archons. No. It's going to be mainly a Ground Toss army with a handful of carriers in the skies. So very similar composition to what we saw in the previous game. But Goblin is going to have a harder time expanding and taking bases. That's the difference here. Goblin is just now taking his third, is going to have a hard time taking his fourth, and Scarlett, because of the goal base, even though she lost a lot of workers, she still has a lot of potential here, as she's back up to 61, and we have an infestation on the way. So Scarlett is taking up very quickly into Hive. Hive Tech is on the horizon. Hive Tech grants access to Vipers, of course. Vipers will change everything. Is something that she was lacking in that last game. Meanwhile, the Oracles, they 5 more damage. 3, 4 more workers go down. Oh my god. We get 5, we get 6. The gas mining workers at that's very good pickoffs. As we go up to 11 worker kills. Ay. Goblin finding so much damage, but does he have enough to defend? Fleet Beacon has been spotted. Good scout here from Scarlett. She knows. Hive is on the way. We don't have a Spire yet, and that's a mothership. That's -300, -300. That's But to be fair, motherships are so much more useful nowadays. They take a lot less time to build. They're cheaper. They provide a lot more utility to the army. So I do appreciate this. This mothership and +1 air attack is on the way. Goblin trying to secure himself on these 3 bases. Scarlett redroning, going for a Hydra Den, not for Corruptors, not for Aspire. So currently Roach Hydra, this should be leading to Hydra Lurker Viper, which is going to have a much easier time against Skytoss this early on, especially when there aren't that many carriers. If there's only 4 carriers, we can deal with this. We can yoink them. We can abduct them. But it's going to take a little bit here for us to get into the swing of things, so Goblin is free to saturate his third and take a fourth. Which 4th base are we going to be taking, though? I'm feeling the northern 4th. That feels like the most secure base to take here. Vipers are in production. They're going to take a little bit of time to gather up energy, but they're going to be a secure way to deal with the carriers and the mothership as well. Ooh, as the mothership is being adventurous. Remember. And Scarlett has to rebuild that hive from scratch. Lair, then a hive. Until then, is stuck with 2 Vipers. Oh, we catch a couple of Overlords. Lurker Den. Now being rebuilt. I think it went down earlier. I think it did bleed out. Scott's going to be rotating over towards that northern base. Link counter here towards the south. Stasis traps are going off. And Storm is still not done. We need a couple of seconds. There we go. 10 seconds away. Storm is going to be huge. Against a Ling Hydra-based composition, Storm is going to annihilate everything. Here we go. Scarlett rotates towards the south. Here come the High Templar. Oof. Big Storm feedback. Oh my god, feedback as well. Massive storms on the army. Ay, ay, ay. And Goblin again, he is just closing that gap in supply. Scarlett backing off, working, still waiting for that Lurker Den to finish. I believe we don't have any Hive upgrades yet for the Lurkers. So it's going to take a while for them to really come online. And Goblin's doing it. Now, what I will say is that thankfully Scarlett has a solid economy and hasn't really lost too many workers in quite some time. So she's still on 85 workers, 6 bases. Actually, yeah, 6 bases here in total. She can rebuild, but over time, Goblin, he's just getting a more secure and stable army. As Scarlett is going for a bit of a split push. Trying to pull Goblin apart. Mothership is being rebuilt. We have +2 air attack to eventually go back into Sky Toss. Cannons and shield batteries are on the way. Goblin with an overreaction is pulled out of position. But he does pull back. A lot of Hydras are going down once again. The High Templar looking a little bit exposed, but they do survive. And yeah, a lot of Hydras get bled out here in this retreat. Ay, ay, ay. Less than ideal here. We do get 5 workers, but that's not quite worth it here for Scarlett. And you can see that Goblin has tied up the supply. This is crazy. There was a time this game when Goblin was down, what, 60, 70 supply? And it wasn't like Scarlett was maxed out with roaches. No, it was a Ling Hydra-based army. It was an efficient army at that. And Goblin has weathered the storm. Gold base, this is huge. Gold base is on the way. If the gold gets up and running, I mean, that's going to be Goblin taking a massive lead. Lurkers have arrived. That means we need a big commitment into Sky Toss. There we go. Ling's going to be harassing. A lot of workers are going down. It's happening off screen, but a lot of workers are falling. As Scout is pulling Goblin apart, we have a Ling contact towards the south. We have a Ling run by here towards the north as well. That's 13, 15 workers. Oh my god! The entire middle line. This is a big loss here for Goblin. Losing everything. And he can't go all in. Goblin, yeah, he was just too distracted. And that's going to be a kill on the Nexus. And just like that, this may just be the game-winning move for Scarlett. Big Ling run by as they kill everything. And what is Goblin going to do? Push into Lurkers? He can't. He can't go all in. Not with this. Not with this army. He was kind of caught like a deer in the headlights, where he was just stuck waiting in front of all these Lurkers and just lost everything to the Lings. A Zealot cannon attack is going to do some damage, but Goblin is down to 34 probes. That may just be it. Again, Goblin did freeze for just a couple just for a little bit too long there. Couple too many moments even. And he can't really do anything anymore. Just the Lurkers, they just reign supreme. We don't have enough carriers, we don't have enough Sky Toss. Gold base is gonna go down. And Goblin is being starved out. This was a back and forth game. Goblin almost recovered. He almost equalized essentially here against Scarlett. He did equalize, but once the Lurkers arrived, everything changed. Goblin just didn't have enough Sky Toss, didn't have enough to deal with this. And Scarlett is just getting out of control at this point. Hydras are pushing forward. We're looking for some adoptions. We're looking for some yoinks. Storms are thrown down. We get a couple of Lurkers with them. But down goes a carrier. There are only 2 left. That's nothing. Again, Hydra Lurker Viper isn't amazing against like a pure Sky Toss army, but there's only a handful of carriers and we can just wreak havoc here. Vipers are gathering energy. And Goblin is barely holding onto his bases. And the Nexus is going to go down. It's taking too many hits. And Goblin cannot engage. 13 more workers go down. GG gets called, and Scarlett does it. She comes back in the game, gets into the lunkers, Poppy gets into the lunkers, and wins it all here for herself and for Shopify Rebellion. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations. As looks like the stream may have gone down at some point, but hopefully everything's okay. Do apologize for the stream going down. Didn't notice, but hopefully everything is looking good. As congratulations, Scarlett does end up taking it here in the end, does win it all for Shopify, and takes down the Platinum Heroes 4-2. GG, that was wild. Again, I do apologize for the stream going down for a moment there. Do apologize. Hopefully the VODs aren't too negatively affected by that. Apparently we were down for like a minute or so. But with that, that is our first series in the books. Our first best of 7. Congratulations to Shopify. The Platinum Heroes, they almost forced an ace match. They almost pulled it off, but just barely didn't. And now we're going to be heading into our next match of the night after the break. Onside versus Team Basilisk. See you then.